Good day, Acute Angels! Welcome to a new learning episode. I am Teacher Nancy Pineda, your teacher for Grade 8 Mathematics. Before we start today's lesson, kindly prepare your self-learning module or your book, your pen, and paper to write your answers as we progress with our discussion. And most importantly, look for a place in your home where you feel safe and comfortable. In this lesson, I will be guiding you in the Week 5 lesson for the second quarter of Grade 8 Mathematics. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to solve problems involving linear functions. Let us walk through our lesson for today. Are you ready now to be with me on solving problems involving linear functions? Okay then. Let us start by reviewing your past lesson, which is the linear function. What is a linear function? Again, a linear function is a function of the form f of x equals mx plus b. A linear function has one independent variable and one dependent variable. The independent variable is x and the dependent variable is y. B is the constant term or the y-intercept. It is the value of the dependent variable when x is 0. M is the coefficient of the independent variable. It is also known as the slope and gives the rate of change of the dependent variable. As for dependent and independent variables, one important note that you need to remember about it is that the independent variable is the cause. Its value is independent of other variables, while the dependent variable is the effect. Its value depends on changes in the independent variable. In short, dependent variable depends on independent variable, while independent variable determines the value of the dependent variable. For example, we have the functions. Number 1, f of x equals 3x plus 8. We also have the function f of x equals 5x plus 25. So, how do we solve linear functions? Either the value of f of x is given and you'll be asked to identify the value of x, or vice versa. It's easier to understand it by having an example. We have the function f of x equals 3x minus 1. Solve for x if f of x equals 8. Writing the equation, f of x equals 3x minus 1, then, by substitution, we have 8 equals 3x minus 1. Then, applying the addition property of equality to isolate the variable x, we will add 1 on both sides of the function. So we have 8 plus 1 equals 3x minus 1 plus 1. We have 8 plus 1 is 9 and negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So we write 9 equals 3x. And we continue to isolate the variable, so we divide both sides by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 3x divided by 3 is x. It is easy as counting 1 to 3, right? Now, applying what you have learned in your previous lesson, we will solve some word problems involving linear functions. There are many real-life problems that can be solved through linear function. In solving problems, we can use Polya's method introduced by George Polya. George Polya is a Hungarian-American mathematics educator who believed that problem solving was an art and the skills to solve math problems can be mastered with constant practice. Polya's method includes the following steps. Step 1. Understand the problem. It means we need to read and analyze the situation. Step 2. Devise a plan. List down all the given data. Determine the unknown and what is asked in the problem. Step 3. Carry out the plan. Write the function that describes the relationship between the variables and solve the function. And step 4. Look back. Verify if the solution obtained is meaningful to the problem solved. Again, the 4 steps in solving word problems involving linear functions are: understand the problem, devise a plan, carry out the plan, and look back. We will now apply the following steps in answering the following problems. Problem number 1. Mark works as a service crew in a fast food center where he earns 45 pesos per hour. How much will he earn in a day if he works for 6 hours? Step 1. We have to understand the problem. What are the given or what is given? Mark earns 45 pesos per hour as a service crew. Then, what is asked? The amount Mark will earn in a day working 6 hours. What is the independent variable? The independent variable is the number of hours rendered. And what is the dependent variable? The dependent variable is the amount earned in a day. For step 2, devise a plan. Using the information in step 1, a linear function can be modeled to show the amount earned expressed as f of x for a number of hours rendered expressed as x. The rate of change m in the problem is 45 pesos and the y-intercept b is 0, which means the function will be f of x equals 45x plus 0 or f of x equals 45x. For step 3, carry out the plan. To solve for the amount of earning f of x, given that he will work for 6 hours, x is equal to 6, we have f of x is equal to 45x. The given, which is f of x equals 45x, and by substitution, we have f of x equals 45 times 6. And multiplying 45 and 6, the value of f of x is equal to 270. And multiplying 45 and 6, the value of f of x is equal to 270. For our last step, step 4, look back. To verify your answer, just substitute the value of x and f of x in the function. The given is f of x equals 45x, and by substituting the value of x and f of x, we have 270 equals 45 times x. And 45 multiplied to 6 is equal to 270. As we checked it, it's true that 270 is equal to 270. Therefore, Mark will be earning 270 pesos after 6 hours. Did you get it right? Very good. Let us now proceed to our second example. In problem number 2, Mr. Felimon, a science teacher, earns 150 pesos per hour for online tutorial service to a senior high school student. If he spends 2 hours tutoring each day, how much would he receive in 15 days? Step 1. Again, understand the problem. What is given? The given is Mr. Philemon earns 150 pesos per hour for an online tutorial service. And another given is Mr. Philemon rendered 2 hours of tutoring service per day. What is asked? The amount Mr. Philemon will receive after 15 days of giving tutorial service. Step 2. Devise a plan. Let X be the number of days of tutorial service. Let 2X be the total number of hours of tutorial sessions. And let f of x be the total amount he earns. Using the information, the total amount Mr. Philemon receives can be modeled as f of 2x equals 150 times 2x. For step 3, we will carry out the plan. Using the model, we have f of 2x equals 150 times 2x as the given. And by substitution, we have f of 2 times 15 equals 150 times 2 times 15. And 2 multiplied to 15 is equal to 30. And we further simplified it. 2 multiplied to 15 is equal to 30, and 150 multiplied to 30 is 4,500. Last step, look back. To verify your answer, just substitute the value of x and f of 2x in the function. F of 2x equals 150 times 2x is the given. And by substituting, we have 4,500 equals 150 times 2 times 15. And 2 multiplied to 15 is 30. And lastly, 150 multiplied to 20 is equal to 4,500. We have 4,500 equals 4,500. Therefore, Mr. Philemon will receive 4,500 pesos for 15 days of tutorial service. Now let us have our last example. For problem number 3, Tony begins to save for a new pair of shoes that costs 2,375 pesos. He already has 500 pesos and plans to save 75 pesos per week. How long does he have to save to buy the shoes? Step 1. Understand the problem. Here are the given. First, Tony has an initial savings of 500 pesos. Second, he needs to save a total amount of 2,375 pesos. And third, he plans to save 75 pesos per week. Now what is asked? How many weeks does Tony need to save? What is the independent variable? The independent variable is the number of weeks he has to save. And the dependent variable is the number of weeks Tony has to save. For step 2, devise a plan. Let x represents the number of weeks Tony has to save. Let f of x represents the total amount saved. Then, the total amount saved is equal to savings per week multiplied to number of weeks plus the initial amount of savings. And we can write it in the form f of x equals 75x plus 500. For step 3, carry out the plan. F of x equals 75x plus 500 is the given. And by substitution, we have 2,375 is equal to 75x plus 500. Then, to isolate the variable x, we add negative 500 on both sides. We have 2,375 plus minus 500 equals 75x plus 500 minus 500. Then we have 1,875 equals 75x. As we continue to identify the value of x, we divide both sides by 75. Now, 1,875 divided by 75 is equal to 25. And 75x divided by 75 is x. Therefore, we have 25 equals x, or x is equal to 25. And for our last step, look back. The given is f of x equals 75x plus 500. And by substitution, we have 2,375 equals 75 times 25 plus 500. 75 multiplied to 25 is 1,875. 2,375 is equal to 1,875 plus 500. And 1,875 plus 500 is equal to 2,375. It's clear that 2,375 is equal to 2,375. Hence, Tony needs to save for 25 weeks. And that's how we solve problems involving linear functions. And before we end our lesson, just a recap. The 4 steps in solving problems involving linear functions are: first, understand the problem. Second, devise a plan. Third step, carry out the plan. And last step, look back. So we were able to apply our understanding about solving linear functions. That's all for now. Again, this is Teacher Nancy Pineda, your teacher for Grade 8 Mathematics. Have a nice day and God bless us all.